Thames Valley Police listened to the following conversation between Jamie Buchanan and Chipping Norton Football Club member Adam Hunt of how Ashford United Football Club and Chipping Norton Football Club were defrauded by corrupt solicitors. They had evidence that Buchanan was a director of V-Bar Limited, that Paul Beverley owned V-Bar Limited, and that he was Foster's employer. The police had evidence that Buchanan and Beverley had shares in the Dormant Limited Company, which was the Trojan horse used to defraud Chipping Norton Football Club, using a TR1 at Land Registry. The police then refused Mr. Fraser's offer to give a copy of this evidence to them.
Hi, Adam.
Hi, Jamie. How are you?
I'm fantastic, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. So I think we keep missing each other a little bit.
Just 1 second. Say that again.
I think we keep missing each other. You keep trying to call me, and I kept trying to call you.
Yeah, we do, Adam. Yeah. No, well, I received your letter from home, Adam, to my home address, and I wondered how you got my home address.
Yeah, that's fine. That was information I got from Company's House.
Right, from what relating to Minotaur companies?
I would have to double check my records.
Because it shouldn't be on, the reason I ask is because it shouldn't be on there. My personal address shouldn't be on there. But again, it'd be interesting. You'd help me, that's all, so I can change the records about that, because I'm involved in obviously a lot of companies, and I sit as non-exec director on boards, etc.
Yeah, no, that's fine. What I'll do is, after this call, I'll send you an email with exact...
It's okay. If you're saying it's from Company's House, I can do the relevant searches myself, so that's absolutely fine. If that's where you've got the stuff from. I didn't know if Brian would have given it you all, because obviously Brian's a good friend of mine, and I do quite a bit of work with him.
No, it was definitely all off Company's House.
Yeah, so, okay, mate, no problem. So, Adam, what's the purpose of your investigation?
So I'll tell you a little bit. So I'm the public relations of kind of the new football club, and kind of working with members of the old football club.
Yeah.
Just trying to mainly understand kind of the sequence of events more than anything, and then gathering, obviously, and collating what information we can.
Yeah. I understand.
So,
do you know where the position is now with the club? And well, let me tell you where I'm at with it all, and then that'll give you a good indication of what I'm about.
Yeah.
So I'm a turnaround specialist, and I run I run quite a few companies, but primarily they're in the sort of insolvency and turnaround sector.
Yeah.
I've got my own insolvency practitioner firm of lawyers, turnarounds, accountants, and then I've also got other business interests which I conduct.
Mm-hmm.
Way back when, I developed a scheme where we could assist members' clubs, working men's clubs primarily.
Right.
And this is, by the way, this is off the record, isn't it? Without prejudice and off the record.
Absolutely. This is a confidential conversation between yourself and I.
Yeah, that's great. That'd be lovely. And I'll tell you for why in a moment. So you'll pan out. You'll understand it, Adam. I don't know if you've got a knowledge of legal or an expertise in terms of company law and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So if not, I'm more than happy to help you. I don't want to seem rude. So I developed this scheme some sort of 15 years ago, where I was assisting working men's clubs all over the country, and they couldn't get funding into place, and had all different sorts of problems. So as part of my turnaround team, I put a company together called Minotaur, which is where Mr. Jones comes into play, one Glyn Jones.
Yeah.
So Glyn Jones then begged me for a job way back when. He was an ex-bankrupt, he was an ex-car dealer. His previous boss had bankrupted him, which I found out. This is all what I found out after.
Yeah.
I said to Glyn, look, you've got a knowledge of finance. This is the expertise that we can deliver to these working men's clubs. And, we need to find a funder which has got to be a high net worth rather than an institute, because of the complications around it, and it's not what people want.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right.
And we said, and I made him a director of the company after his bankruptcy and gave him a third share, albeit he held all the shares in trust for the other partners, one of which was myself.
Yeah.
And, the relationship carried on from there. So when we get a club, we do some advisory work and then we pass it over to the Minotaur group of companies which Mr. Jones set up. And he held them in share for ourselves, yada, 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 and then we continue. So we basically work with the clubs to develop them, put money into them, pay the creditors, develop them, and do everything we could to assist in the general terms and to optimise the situation. Great service, and that's what we did.
Yeah.
Chipping Norton was a client of mine that I never actually instructed them. I referred them straight across to Glyn Jones. Now, around about this stage, so the shares were actually put in my name.
Right.
Or so 2/3 of the shares should have been in my name, and I held them for trust. The reason for this, Adam, is because I was becoming very suspicious of Mr. Jones's behaviour and his conduct as an officer of the companies.
Right.
What he was up to. And just so very, very, and then all of a sudden, Glyn Jones starts forming all these other Minotaur group of companies, and he's a very, very, very tricky customer.
Yeah.
Very tricky customer. So I got very suspicious of Glyn. Unfortunately, at the time, one of our other partners was terminally ill, and he wasn't, up for dealing with this. And he was ill for sort of 5-6 years, but he subsequently died.
Oh, right, okay.
Because we got a lot of stuff up in the air. Mm-hmm. Anyway, when I challenged Jones about his conduct and his behaviour and the way he was structuring, he puts this web of companies together to hide behind them, you see.
Yeah.
And does all this, and he thinks, but I taught him, so he can't, I know the insolvency law and turnaround and corporate law inside out.
Yeah.
So I confronted him, and I don't mind sharing this with you. So I'd say, look, Glyn, we've got this list of working men's clubs we're working with, one of which was Barrow Hill Working Men's Club. Guess what he did? He actually purchased that himself personally from Minotaur.
Right, okay.
Yeah, without our understanding. We got a plot of land which was set up in a company. One of the companies was called D-Bar, which was the funding tool. He set a company up called Y-Bar, which we bought some land and got planning permission for 27 houses, which he forgot to tell us about. When I confronted him on that, he went, that's mine, not yours. I said, Glyn, well, that's a clear breach of your fiduciary duty. So I became really sort of concerned.
Yeah.
And to try and protect the Chipping Norton sort of investment, I made the name, and I made it be put into my name.
Right.
Into my name, which is taking the shares out of my name somehow. All crooked. He's got Ben lawyers working for him, which that Leslie worked for him.
Yeah.
She worked for me. I think she's a Ben lawyer. So they can do things like this. Paul Dalton's a Ben lawyer, and Mike Foster's a tricky customer as well. Now, however, Mike has now fallen out with Mr. Jones. This is going back. I'm sort of taking you back to 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years ago, in September, when the individual died, I confronted Glyn, and Glyn did a moonlight. He ran out of the office and did a moonlight. What he didn't realise is that I'd mapped the server, so I got all the information with relate to what his antics were.
Right.
What his antics were. So he did a moonlight and he ran away. And he took Leslie, Mike Foster, and another guy called Roger, who's a good guy actually.
Yeah.
And I've not spoken to him since. He holds the shares in mine. He still holds just the shares in trust. The Chipping Norton shares are he put in my name. There's a couple of other companies that should have and not happened. And we've just fast forward 2 years. I run a busy practice,
yeah.
And I'm currently in the process of taking legal action against Mr. Jones and the directors personally for their antics. I.e., one of which is, irrespective of what your involvement with Chipping Norton is, that was an investment that was purchased and the ransom strips were sold, and Mr. Jones is, I went down there the other day to have a look actually, because I've got a client down there, and he's actually put a planning permission in for a nursery.
Correct.
Which is very interesting.
So
but the idea was that he worked with Chipping Norton. I don't know what the ins and outs. I mean, I've got the service, so I know what sort of happened, what the ins and outs are of what happened. But my understanding was that there was a development. The Chipping Norton Sports and Social Club was formed, which acquired the brand and the business. The club was then going to rent that with some sort of option purchase to buy back, less interest, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously I've fallen out with Glyn. He's done a runner. He's running scared because I'm going to sue him, which he doesn't know yet, but he's got a good indication.
Yeah.
I'm going to sue him for the Chipping Norton loss. I'm going to sue him for all different other issues that he's got to do with Anglesey and all stuff he's done, which is very, the guy's a crook. To put it bluntly, the guy's a bloody crook. And he's going to be brought to justice. I find out that Chipping Norton are no longer playing at the club.
No.
He's never filed any accounts whatsoever for Chipping Norton. It's as if it's a dormant company, which is highly irregular. But that's what he's like. He's just a gung-ho crook who needs bringing to task. But he's always got away with it because no one's actually, he hides behind this web of deceit, and it's too costly. The litigation's too costly and too complex. He makes it as complex as possible to I think, to sort of prevent anybody from taking action. I've subsequently had a couple of his clients who have advised, on taking action. I think he knows that as well. What also has happened, what's interesting, is Mr. Foster has resigned from the Minotaur Group of companies, and I don't know if you've written to him at home as well, but I've heard on the word on the street to some other investors that we use that have come to me and said, they give me a lot of information because I do a lot of work with them, and they said, Mike Foster's left because he wouldn't continue to do the dodgy things that Glyn's asking him to do.
So I've spoken to Mike Foster's wife on behalf of him, and Mike Foster is actually taking legal action against Glyn Jones because Glyn Jones has been unlawful.
Yeah, all right.
That I had that information this week. So I'll just have to sort of.
Please don't tell Mike because I've got to sue Mike as well because he's got.
No. I won't be saying anything. Like I said, this conversation you and I having is completely confidential.
Yeah. Okay. Lovely. I don't mind if you take, but it wouldn't do you any benefit in the long run. I don't think because Mike's a slippery character himself. Very dishonest chap. He was another one who I had a fallout with, and if you can tell lies, you sort of, I sort of categorise you in that. They've obviously had a fallout, and he's resigned, or Glyn's sacked him, or whatever.
Yeah.
So
I think the fallout is regarding some assets that Glyn's winding up a company, but there's still assets involved, which I'm assume is therefore potentially part of Mike's remit.
Yeah, well, Mike owns shares in Chipping Norton Social Club as well.
Yeah, because this is the thing for us. So just a couple of things. One, yes, Glyn he put application in for a nursery, of which there was.
So is the club no longer playing there then?
We haven't been playing football there for 2 years. No,
really?
three years we haven't been playing football there. And so we have to now play in Entstone, which is up the road. He put plan permission in for there to be a nursery, which had over 150 objections. And now there's a clause that he doesn't actually need planning permission to be able to turn it into a nursery for a limited period of 2 years.
Yeah.
Which is now basically what a particular company / franchise is trying to do. Now,
why does he want to turn it into a nursery, I wonder?
No idea. It's a company that wants to do it, but obviously he's going to allow them to do that, because he did offer us a deal that we could rent the pitch and etc. for £24,000 a year. Now we had a meeting at our local town council earlier on in the year, and Mr. Jones came to it, and there was a long conversation of what we can or can't now do with the club, because the big thing for us is the trustees don't actually know what they have or haven't signed over, because the assumption was that Minotaur, whoever would come in, pay off the debts, move the clubhouse, sell the bit of the access road, take off their fee and give the club back some money, and then the land would be given back to the trustees. That was the assumption. And then after that, it was a case of, well, here's your lease agreement. Well, why are we signing the lease if it's our land? And then it turns out, actually, the land isn't the trustees. So this is why I'm now sort of more involved to say, well, actually, what has actually happened and who actually owns the land and what was actually signed. So what we haven't got at the moment is the contractual agreements that were signed by the trustees. Now, I've written to Mr. Jones basically the same letter you would have received from myself, as well as we have a private solicitor involved that's also requesting information. But until we get those initial contractual agreements from the trustees and Mr. Jones, we don't actually know what or wasn't signed over.
Right.
So that's kind of where we are at the moment.
Yeah. Because they would have had to sign, but like I say, I'll put it past it to forge documents.
Wow. Nor would I. But
Mike Foster was well involved in that as well, and that's why, and he tells lies, so, be very wary of Mike.
Yeah.
I know the purchase price was 140,000.
I think in total, we've seen a receipt from Mr. Jones. It says how much he spent, etc., on paying off debts, building it. Let's say it all comes to say, I don't know, debts of say 200 grand, and it cost him 150 to build. But then
Sorry,
obviously,
say that again. So all the money he said is 30 grand.
no, let's say I've got it all details, but let's say for example, the debts were about 200 grand, and to build the new clubhouse was say £100,000. Just for example.
Well, no. Hang on. What happened was they bought the land. The social club bought Chipping Norton Sports and Social Club purchased the land from the trustees.
Yeah.
For 140 something thousand pounds. Right?
Yeah.
They then sold the land they then sold a ransom, I believe, a ransom strip to, I believe it was Bellway Homes.
Correct.
But there was a 106 provision that they had to spend money doing the clubhouse up. That was part of the planning application.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that figure was to spend about 400 and something thousand pounds.
Whoa, okay.
Which I don't believe for one. But is that tricky, Mr. J? So for 400 and something thousand pounds, that was the sort of, or 500,000, you got to build this club for that. But at the time, it was said that the club wouldn't cost anything like that to be able to build a new club. And I've since been and looked at the club, and it's a shed. With a so he's not spent nothing like that on that.
Mm.
And there was a lease back to the club, etc. So that's all I know for now.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find out what the figure. Do you know what Bellway purchased it for?
Say it again, sorry.
Do you know what the purchase price was?
From
Bellway, from the builder.
I don't know I think I can get the details, because I think we've got it around us, but I don't know off the top of my head. Because I know that when the business, because Glyn Jones was going to get a certain amount of money from Archstone, who was also involved to a degree, when certain parts of this deal was all finished, and then another part of it once the actual building was finished and the roof was on. And I believe that Mr. Jones...
Who was that coming from? Who was paying him the money?
Archstone.
Who was Archstone?
Archstone, it's all to do with that access road.
Yeah.
Because Archstone were involved in that access road bit as well.
Right, okay.
But yeah, and then I believe they were then going to get another lump sum once the roof's on and it's finished. Well, at the moment, it's finished. So I think Mr. Jones has had, I think it was just shy of £1 million. It's like 999 points. I mean, it's just shy of £1 million.
Well, I think that would have come from the builder. But we can find out, and then maybe Artstone's on top of that. I don't know, but I have got certain information because I'm at the server. But before I can hand that over to you, I need to take some legal advice because obviously we're pursuing Jones.
Yeah.
We're staying in case, but I'm more than happy to work with you guys on that. But so he's had £1 million, and he's bought it for 140. So therefore, what debts did the club have? Because that 140 will have gone to pay the debts. Well,
we think it's probably about that. It's between that and say 200 grand. If without looking into it all.
But I don't think the club owed that much money.
No, I don't at all.
One of his tricks is he runs up a big legal bill or his Minotaur fees.
Yeah, because what happened was he came in, paid off the debts, but then let the club get up to more debt.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess a couple of things for us is what we ideally need is whatever contract was signed over, because there's a bit of a grey bit between the club was in debt and the grey bit is Minotaur came in and now they own the pitch. So that's the grey bit, is we don't actually know what was signed and we haven't got a copy of the document which was signed. That's the bit we're really missing. Because at the moment the trustees themselves are probably at a certain age where they're not as young as you and I, so therefore they've as you would have seen they've signed a letter of authority which they're happy for.
Manipulated.
Sorry?
They could have been manipulated.
Potentially, but again, so they're happy for me to speak to organisations and request documentation on their behalf. Which is good because I'm somebody that can take it on as such. Because also we've spoken to another club called Ashford United. And obviously,
Ashford, we had an involvement with Ashford. Well, that's the time he did the runner.
Yeah, well, we've spoken to Ashford, and basically there were 3 people involved in that club. Because it all basically got settled out of court, although it cost them £500,000 to get their club back. 2 of them obviously signed a waiver that they would no longer speak of what happened, but one of them didn't. So we know there's another club that the same kind of situation happened again.
So he did fund Ashford then?
Yes.
Minotaur did fund Ashford?
Yes.
Oh, that'd be great information to share with me, because from my perspective, Glyn Jones is supposed to be acting for me as a shareholder, and he's ripping everybody off, which I don't want to happen because my reputation's at stake, but B, I pound of flesh, from a personal perspective.
I think, because whenever I've been now contacting companies, whether it's Mike or Glenn or new companies, because of now how Glenn is, I'm always a little bit wary as to how I approach a company and what I can. But I have to say, I'm very happy the way that I've spoken to you. I can't stand the man. He's a crook and a thief. I'd love to see him, where he should be behind bloody bars. Yeah.
But I would love to assist you free of charge, share information with you, but I don't, I'll try and find some documents, because obviously there's a misappropriation of funds. If you think about it, he set the company up, Sports and Social Club. Bought the building, sold the strip. Developed the barn. But yeah, all he's done is filled dormant accounts in.
Exactly. Yeah, that's his thing. And it's a spider's web. Yeah, exactly. And it is, when you look at all his companies, it's just a spider's web. But that's
what he does, right? Because it's such a tricky, because it worked for me, and he's seen that he understands the litigation and the insolvency laws, because we're specialist solicitors. So what he's done is use that information to use against people, because the cost of litigation is so great. If I make it as messy as possible and as little as transparency as I can, people are never going to try and penetrate. So, and obviously that's what he's been doing. So I don't think anybody, and a couple of people where they threatened to sue him, he gets these lawyers up there and they chuck the smoke, and say, let's charge the cost, etc. They eventually go away. Ashford in Kent, he was doing that at the time, and he passed them up, and he's taking the guys shooting, and I mean that's another thing he's been up to in terms of tax. Not paying the tax for the company. I mean, it's horrific. But again, that's another story. But yeah, so he doesn't pay the people at Ashford. He's doing this deal down at Ashford in Kent, and then obviously you can see what he's doing. He's not only nicking money from other people, he's nicking money from his fellow shareholders.
Yeah, and this is the thing. It's twist after twist. What I think, I don't know how you feel, but I think what would be beneficial is my club chairman and I are the ones that are mainly involved at the moment, although we've got a lot of support locally from our councillors, MP and the local community, but it's mainly myself and my chairman. Would you be up for potentially my chairman and I coming to meet you at some point? Because I think it would be a very good...
Love to. Absolutely. Brian Kay is, like I say, a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
He's not aware of all the ins and outs, but he knows I don't like Jim Jones, and I'm falling out with him. And Brian's a good guy, and we're all proper people, So I'm happy for you to get a reference from Brian. But no, more than happy to meet. More than happy to eat. Where I can help Chipping Norton Football Club, I will do, because that's I'm that type of person. It's what you're looking to achieve. It's obviously the pitch in the clubhouse back, one would assume.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, because
and any cash that Glyn's misappropriated and stole.
Exactly, and I think that's probably information.
I mean, because you can't go around ripping little football clubs off, being an opportunist, and it seems that's what he's doing. And like you say, the guys at Ashford, and I am a specialist. We are a specialist firm, so it looks like the guys in Ashford at Kent have gone to a firm of lawyers who don't specialise in it. They've gone through the court procedures. They've gone all the wrong way about it. Gone through the court procedures, which is what Glyn wants them to do.
Yeah.
So he can frustrate the situation to get to a point of a settlement, and they've had to settle and pay him back. And I know how it works. They'll have gone, he's borrowed this money. They've signed up. They borrowed this money. It's an extortionate rate of interest. He's whacked all these ridiculous charges on. Yada yada yada. That's the sort of route you take. So more than happy. Are you based in Chipping Norton, Oxford area?
Yes, I'm based in Chipping Norton, and so is my colleague Tim. Yeah.
Okay. What's your background then, Adam? If you don't mind me asking.
So I'm a fellow footballer, and when the club reformed, I took on the treasurer role and public relations. But I'm actually a quality and regulatory manager for a medical device organisation in Oxfordshire. So this is all spare time basically from what we've done and what we've taken over basically. Yeah. So
I understand. So the much help you can get, the better it's going to be for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I have to say, I really, really appreciate your call today, and you seem like a really down-to-earth, honest guy, which, knowing what sort of people Glenn's worked with, it's actually nice to hear.
But just to give you the heads up, Mike Foster isn't an honest chap, but that's why he hides behind his wife. He's a coward.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Okay.
why you've been planting getting your, I mean, how embarrassing getting your wife to ring up.
I know.
And, you know, and he's been in it. His hands are dirty, mate. His hands are dirty.
Yeah. Because I think as well, there's that. I think.
Bear that in mind, anyway. But
Yeah.
I don't. More than happy to me. If you can, you've got my details, we've got email. Let's keep in touch, and I'll speak to you next week if that's all right.
Yeah. No, that sounds perfect.
I think I'm in on the 8th of September.
8th of what? Sorry.
December.
Oh, what in Chippy?
Well, I'm in Oxford, so I'm nearby. I'm not particularly in Chippy, but I can, potentially meet somewhere.
Yeah, I think that would be good. I mean, I'll be off because my partner's about to have a baby, so I'll be off.
Oh, okay.
I'll be off anyway, and Tim will be free. So yeah, I'll speak to Tim, and we'll put something in the diary and we'll catch up.
Lovely. All right. Well, very nice talk to you. Let's keep it confidential for the purpose of it working better.
Yeah, no, and like I said, anything that's discussed between yourself and I will go no further than yourself and Tim, my chairman. But between us, for the rest, it won't go any further.
Yeah. All right, mate. That's lovely.
Brilliant. Well, thanks for your time today, Jamie. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, mate. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye-bye. Bye.